You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Welcome back to Miles from Main Street. This week, we're looking at the things we always do when we go to Walt Disney World.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas.
Here's a wild ride in the
That's right. We're talking about the things we always do when we go to Walt Disney World. But before we do, please like and subscribe to the show on your podcast app or on YouTube, and be sure to share with your friends and family. Remember, new episodes every Tuesday, and on Fridays, find the Disney Dash short form podcast with my daughter Mia, where she is talking Disney from A to Z from a kid's perspective. How you doing, Stuart?
I am good. How are you, Bryan?
I am doing good. It's been a busy month, made a little busier by 2025. If you ask me, 15 days in, it's not going so well.
Give it 30 days and then we'll talk.
I hope so. Let's hope things change. I did do something fun. I did just record with the Idiot's Guide to Imagineering, fun podcast where they are constantly coming up with grand, terrific new ideas for Disney World. And I am going to be on their show coming out this Monday, the 27th. And a little preview. We did a random show. Like they spun a wheel with non-Disney IP, and we got Coca-Cola. I'm spoiling it. I hope they don't get too mad at me. I'm spoiling it.
It's called a preview, Bryan.
It's a preview. Well, okay. Hashtag spoilers. And yeah, we used that IP on a fun ride that they also spun for. And we created an entire sequence and storyline for this. And not only was it like this random idea, but we had timed segments to come up with everything. So we basically did this 3 different segments, 30 minutes total. And it's pretty awesome. Like we came up, it was a great thing. So definitely check out that episode on Monday. It was a ton of fun.
Are there going to be links in the podcast, in the show notes, or whatever? Do we do links? There should be a link. We should put a link to it somewhere.
Stuart's going to set this podcast on track, I tell you. Yes, I will get a link in the show notes so that
That's
you
what
can
they say,
find
right?
it. Okay. And the other thing that I've been meaning to put in, speaking of getting on track, right at the top of the show notes is a link. We do links to text us.
Oh, that'd be great.
Right? So you can send us a text. It'll come up with a little code within the 2-line. Just leave that in there and start typing your text, and it'll get to us. So yeah, definitely let us know your thoughts. Let us know what Stuart, how you don't like Stuart's hair. Anything.
Or love this shirt. This shirt's a cool shirt. But
yeah. But most of you are listening on the airwaves and not on the TV waves. That's not a thing. So anyway,
it used to be.
I'm starting to ramble.
You are starting to ramble, but that's okay. So yes, like and subscribe. Get in touch with us. Talk to us. Context is always great, and there's one person who I'm specifically referring to. So if you're that person, context would be awesome. Anyway. Bryan, when is your next trip?
I don't know.
Either Walt Disney World or Disneyland.
I don't have a plan.
Neither do I. So when I get into this way, I start thinking about all the things that I have to do and that sort of helps me, bridge the gap, but also sprint along. It helps me bridge the gap, but also push it out even further because I don't know when the next trip is going to be. So let me ask you this: what are some things that you always do, you have to do when you go to the parks?
There are a lot of things that I have to do. One of those things, though, I might get a lot of flack for. We, as a family, minus my son, because he can't stand it, but we always make sure that we ride It's a Small World.
It's a Small World? Oh,
yes,
that's
it's
nice.
a family tradition to take that 25-minute boat ride.
I love the 25-minute boat ride, especially when you go in like a summertime or a hot time, which is basically any time, right?
Yes.
And you get to go through that. And I don't even mind it when the boats get bumped up together and they just sit there. I don't even mind it.
I try to get my son to go with us, but he's not interested.
I mean, that is a family tradition if I ever heard one, right?
Yeah.
I also like, so the first time we ever got magic bands, we were like, okay, this is cool and all, but like, what does it do? So then we rode Small World, and then our name showed up at the end, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then we thought, oh my gosh, this is real scary too. So magic bands in Small World were kind of cool.
Well, don't worry, they have removed that magic.
Yeah,
the magic's gone.
Of course. But I mean, yes, it was cool, but also was a little like, oh, they're gonna say our government name up on the screen. Like, no, let's not do that. So.
All right. Well, I always thought it was kind of cool, a cute little thing. Goodbye,
Yeah.
Brian. Like, that's fun.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah.
So one of my things is I always get the button. I'll make up with a reason to get a button, whether I got a new job or celebrating something, but I always get buttons.
Gotta have a button.
Got to. And if you don't know what the buttons are, you go to City Hall and you say, it's my first trip, or I'm celebrating a new job, or I'm celebrating my birthday, or I'm celebrating this or that or whatever. And, or I think they have happy anniversary ones too. I mean, they have a whole line of whatever it is, right? And then as you walk around the park, people will be like, happy anniversary, or happy birthday, or congratulations on the new job, or, whatever you put in there. They'll read the buttons. They didn't take that part of the magic away. That's for sure.
They used to have more specific buttons.
Yeah.
Like happy anniversary or newly married or something like that.
Yeah.
But now it's all just happily ever after on that, and birthday and first visit. I think that's it.
I mean, I'm okay with any of those. I'll make up.
They did try selling some buttons that had more fun and more characters, like sayings on it and stuff, but they must not have gone well.
I mean, that seems like it's a nickel and dime type of thing, right? Oh, you can have the regular button, but we can sell you the happier button. No, no. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
So what else do you do?
Well, photopass. I'm a huge fan of Memory Maker. My wife, as my kids were growing up, she was getting into photography, did a lot of, tried to run a photography business for a while, and that just kind of fell apart after a while when she got busy with other things. But she definitely had our kids trained. And like I remember one time, it was actually during COVID, we went camping, and I remember we went to look at, we were out on the western side of Wisconsin at Lake Wissota. Some of you may know that spot, near Chippewa Falls. And anyway, we were overlooking the lake, and she said, "Oh, let me get a picture," and my kids just snapped right into position. Like they just
Nice.
like all three of them just kind of boom, like okay, we know how this goes. And so whenever we are at Disney, I'm always trying to find the photopass person. I am of the mind of taking a picture with every photographer all the way up Main Street, because you never know which one you're going to like the most.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I get even from my wife, like, okay, that's enough. Like, we're not doing this. But the first time we went to Disney with the kids, in 2016, that was the first time we got to use Memory Maker. It wasn't the thing prior to that. We came home with over 700 pictures that were taken by photopass photographers. Yeah, so that is something that we do every time.
It's one of those like add-ons that you go, well, do I need it? Do I not need it? And usually it's discounted ahead of time. So like if you book before, or if you bundle it with your reservation, it's discounted, right? But if you try to add it on the day of, or when you go to the park or whatever, it's more. So I always told people, just add it. You're going to want it, just add it. But I can take it with my phone. No, you can't. It's fine. Just add the Memory Maker.
And the reason why is because then mom's not in the picture.
Right. Now you can give your phone to the cast member and they will take the picture on your phone or whatever. But still, they are professional people. It's worth it. On the cruise, it's also worth it too, because they end up having a little bit more staged events. So like they'll have backdrops and whatnot for that. But yeah, I love the PhotoPass and I like it. We get it most often. We get it, except if we're doing like a quick trip or whatever, then we won't necessarily, because we're there to ride rides and not get our picture taken. But I also like how they do like the animated things. So like we did one in front of the Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, and we were all like doing an action or whatever, and I forget, something happened, but I forget what it was. Maybe a porg showed up or something like that. I don't know. But they give you a whole bunch of extra add-on stuff, and then they give you a bunch of stock photos too that you download, and I thought those are cool too.
Yeah. We on our last trip, we did I should say in February, that trip, we came out of It's a Bug's Life, and they had one of those 360-degree pictures there, so we did that. That's something you can't do with your phone.
No.
That was really cool, because then you get the Tree of Life and it looks like everyone's around it. Like, that was really neat. They do the magic shots where they will add in Mickey or Orange Bird or a porg, like you said. They also have those zoom in and out pictures where you stand and you look at a camera at something and they'll zoom in and zoom out so that you kind of get the entire surroundings of you. Those are really cool for me too. The problem is they're videos. I can't frame them.
Not cheaply. I mean, you can frame them. You take a TV, you put it on the wall, it just plays that. But you can't do that with a whole bunch of other things.
Okay, I can't feasibly
do it.
Reasonably.
So the other thing we always get when we go to Anaheim, and so recently we were thinking about how to spend 36 hours at a park, right? Which one do you do? Do you do West Coast Anaheim, or do you do East Coast Orlando? And it really came down to two questions. One, where do they sell turkey legs? And two, that one was really important. I'm not going to lie. And two, how easily would it be to do, all of, or the most of one of those parks, one of those resorts in like 36 hours. And the answer we came up with was Disneyland. Not only because they sell turkey legs at Disneyland and they don't sell them at Walt Disney World, that we were able to figure out. They might have them in Epcot.
They have them. You just
Where?
know where to find them.
That's true. Where?
Frontierland.
Is it Frontierland?
Yes. I don't know where they sell them at Epcot. So you're gonna make me learn something there.
Oh, I don't know where they sell them at Epcot either. Somebody told me they did, and I was like, "Are you sure?" So, but they sell them in Frontierland?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, that adds a new element to this conversation. But you still can't do. I mean, we were talking about it, and it's like, how do you do Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios? You know, those two things right there are in Disneyland, right? Now you don't, there's a couple of things in Hollywood Studios that are not in Disneyland or whatever, but between Disneyland and California Adventure, you get most of all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, Epcot is really cool, but not if you just want to ride rides. I mean, the Guardians ride is cool, I guess. I haven't been on it, but I'm sure it's wonderful.
We need to get you back there.
We should add a Patreon link in the links.
We should probably set that up if you're going to add a link.
Well, I mean, true. True. Just put my mailing address.
There you go. Or GoFundMe.
Right.
That was popular.
Send me to Disneyland. Like, no. Turkey legs. That's what it is. Turkey legs is the other thing we get all the time.
Turkey legs. That used to be my thing. I always get a pretzel now.
Is it a pretzel?
Yeah. And it's because the turkey leg's just so much. Like, it's a lot, right? It's good. I enjoy eating it, but there's a lot of it, and nobody else wants to eat it but me. So I've kind of gone away from that. I haven't had a turkey leg in a long time, actually. But now my thing is a Mickey pretzel.
Mickey pretzels are pretty good. When we were in California Adventure, we had the Baymax sourdough bread. That was really good. Really good.
Yeah, I've thought about that when we were there. I thought about I should buy I think they had the Mickey one at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, they're giving out samples. That's good enough. What am I going to do with a loaf of bread in a hotel room? Like, just sit there and pull pieces off and.
Yes, that is what you do with a loaf of bread in a hotel room. I don't understand why we're having. I don't understand.
Okay, well, I mean, we're kind of getting into the Disney World versus Disneyland conversation right now.
A little bit, but
a little bit. The food at Disneyland is so much better than Disney World. There's so much to eat there that I didn't feel like I could waste calories, stomach space, however you want to make it sound, on a loaf of bread when I could go get birria tacos.
True.
Or churro toffee. That is something you can't get at Disney World. And oh my goodness.
Churro toffee.
As the Gen Zers would say, 100.
Okay, I don't know that.
I know. We're too old for this.
We're too old. So with us for food, it's always been a little bit of a struggle because my oldest is allergic to everything. And so when we look at food at Disney, we try to think of like one ingredient things. So a turkey leg, which is not an ostrich leg, by the way. I saw that as a did you know? And it's like, no, it's not. It's real turkey legs.
Yeah.
Urban myth, right?
Yeah.
that's like a really easy one ingredient type of thing. And when you start making tacos and all that sort of stuff, it doesn't work out as well. Now, I can get behind a churro, right? I can really get behind a churro. I can get behind popcorn. I can get behind Casey's hot dogs. Oh, Casey's hot dogs. That's a great place. So at Disneyland, they used to have back where Galaxy's Edge is now. They used to have this sort of backyard barbecue cowboy thing, and it was ribs, short ribs, and it was picnic style. So they bring out you short ribs for the table, and then they bring out baked beans for the table, and they bring out corn for the table, and you just grab and eat and grab. And we must have sat there for like 2.5 hours listening to the wandering minstrel play his guitar, and we were just eating short ribs, and it was amazing. My oldest, who couldn't eat anything, was like, I gotta go rides. So they went and rode rides, and my youngest at the time just sat there and ate food. Yes, I can get behind Disneyland food. Disney World, though, has Boathouse, and I'm not gonna lie, Boathouse is yummy. It is really yummy.
It definitely is kind of a mic drop when you're looking at the two of them and you say Boathouse. It's like, okay, fine.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know what you're talking about with Disneyland and all the food, but I feel like Disney World has more restaurants.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely. They do. I mean, 27 resorts to begin with.
Right. Okay. So they kind of have to.
Yeah. But, I mean, when you look at the quality of the food in the parks, I'm not even talking about outside, but the food in the parks compared to Disney World. And they have to do it that way because they have return guests. Like it's more a locals park, right? People have been there before. So they need to keep doing things new and better and tastier and making a reason for people to come back. So yeah. What else? What else do we do? I mean, we got down quite a tangent there.
Yeah, true. I think it's yours now. What else do you do?
Okay, well, I always stay in a Disney resort.
You always stay on property.
I do. I like being in the bubble. And now Mikhailo would tell you that it's okay to stay off property. I prefer to be in the bubble because I don't get there that often. And I'd rather just take it all in. I mean, that's part of the reason why I haven't been to Universal. It requires me to find a way to get there. I can walk out my hotel room and there's a bus waiting for me.
True.
It's
very, very true.
Yeah. And there's so much to do on property that I can't see myself wanting to be off property at all. Not yet anyway. Maybe I'll get there at some point, but I just love being on property. I love how Disney takes care of you. I love that I can wake up to Mickey Mouse telling me it's time to get up and go to the parks.
Yep. He can call you on the phone, and that's amazing. And
actually, they've added the My Disney in, so now you just tell My Disney, hey, My Disney. He's just say, hey, Disney, or something like that. And then,
is that the Alexa things?
Yeah. And then the next morning, it just goes off, and there's somebody telling you it's time to wake you up. Could be Goofy. I think we had Chip and Dale one day, like as part of it.
That's
like
cool.
It was fun.
Cool. The mattresses in Disney, even the value resorts have wonderful mattresses.
Yeah.
So I made a comment. I don't know when we stayed at Port Orleans, I was like, there is no reason to sleep on any mattress in Central Florida that's not a Disney mattress. None. just sleep on a Disney mattress, because you're right. The bubble is amazing, right? And if you have the different tiers, different pricing for the resorts, basically is how fast can you get to the parks, right? So if you're on the monorail, you're staying, in some high priced resorts. But who doesn't want to stay at the Polynesian? Come on. Although I'd love to stay at the Contemporary. I think that's on my bucket list someday, is to be right there.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of the garden wing.
No.
Yeah, we stayed in the garden wing and had a beautiful view of Bay Lake. I could sit there in my room with the sliding door. We had, that Juliet balcony thing going. Actually have a balcony. But we could sit there in the room and have that open and watch the electrical light parade from our room. And, we don't get to see fireworks from our room like you could, if you were in the tower on the correct side. But it was still it was a gorgeous view.
Yeah.
So the mornings were tremendous to wake up to that. I had to get up early. I went outside and found a good spot where my data would get a good signal to get onto the virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance. That's how long ago this was. But I got up early in the morning and went outside, and I'm sitting on the beach in these chairs that they have waiting for it to come in. It's silent, right? There might have been a boat that went by getting ready to move people, but it was just it was awesome. And you definitely Garden View is a little cheaper. Yeah, sure. You're not in the tower, but it was so nice. You're right there by the pool.
Again, staying on property has its perks. And honestly, the only other time we didn't stay on property was when we stayed at, I think it was the Hilton that's right next to Disney Springs. And that was only because I had a bunch of Hilton points. And so it was free, essentially, or cheap. But short of that, no, stay on property. It's surprisingly cheaper and better than staying at a Roach Motel down the road.
No, I don't know about cheaper, but you do need to take a look at not only the cost of the room, but be careful for those off-property ones that you'd like to have resort fees in there.
Yeah.
There's the dealing with a rental car, possibly parking fees. It's just easier for me to walk out of my room and get on a bus or the Skyliner or the monorail. It's just easier.
When I've priced it may be a little bit more expensive, but after you eliminate all of those things about having to drive the car in and having to pay the $25 for parking and having to, do this and that and the other, you end up being pretty even. Now, if you drive down, then maybe you don't have to rent a car or whatever. But still, I highly recommend staying on property. And you can do it for relatively, as not as much as other places. So for me, one of the things that I always have to do is I always have to buy pins. Yeah,
I'm not a pin collector, but yes, I buy pins every time we're there.
You're not a pin collector?
I don't want to get in. I don't want to get to the point that I'm worried about whether it's real or not. And so I've been recently buying a pin for every resort that we stay in, and any holidays that we're celebrating there. So I have a Easter pin, I have a Valentine's pin, we got the Lunar New Year pin when we were at Disneyland. I have Mardi Gras, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Halloween, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
But that, and then we buy, I guess my listeners know this. Don't hit me, Stuart, but I buy pins off of eBay and
Mhm.
let my kids trade them.
Mhm.
And as I think they call them scrappers or scrapers or whatever. Most of what you're trading for, I believe, are that anyway. So I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I buy bags of pins off of eBay too. so there's no problem with that. But a lot of times they're fun. I don't get into it for the money, because as soon as you do that, I think you take the fun out of it. But we buy pins. We have a pin backpack. My wife has a pin backpack that we trade back and forth. We have the Carl and Ellie pins. They go together, and so she has Ellie and I have Carl on my backpack, and those are cute. It's kind of some of those fun things you do, right? Because it's okay to show that pride of the stuff that you're doing. So yeah, we do pins. I like pins. Do you remember Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom?
Yes, that I was a collector of. I believe I still have 2 sets of the 60.
Oh, wow.
I have one for sure. I think I have 2 complete sets. I only have 2 party cards left. I was just actually in that book not too long ago. I had more of them, but when they canceled it, I ended up trading some so that I get something else. I was looking for, I can't remember exactly how I traded it, but I traded some of the cards to get other things.
That I thought was a really cool way to keep engagement in the park, because if you're there for 10 days and you figure out, okay, I've ridden Small World so many times, now you add this extra element into it. And that was a really fun game, and I wish we could have done that more.
Yeah. Have you done the Pirates Adventure one?
No, but we did the Phineas and Ferb World Tour in Epcot.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It's now DuckTales, right? I think
I think so.
Now. Yeah, we haven't done any of those other than we did the Sorcerers, which to do a piece of Sorcerers usually took you 20 minutes, or to finish a one land. So my son and I did a couple of those, but mostly I was just in it for the cards.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Poor things. Don't look here.
I got the binder, the Sorcerer's binder. I bought one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, filled that. Yeah, no, I love that game. I was really sad when they got rid of it.
I hope they replace it with something.
I don't know that they will.
I know, because it doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
But what was cool about it was again something that you could do that you weren't taking up a ride slot. You weren't standing in a line for.
Right.
Very similar to running around Tom Sawyer's Island, right? You didn't have to wait in a line for it. But the Pirate Adventure one, maybe we did do that one at one point. But that still was in that same vein. I still like that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. There's something like that, I believe, in every park. I don't know that Hollywood Studios really has that. Oh, yes, they do. They have the bounty hunter thing in Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, yeah. Which I could never. I mean, I haven't been at Galaxy's Edge long enough to really start getting into stuff like that, because we're there. There's so much other stuff, and I'm the only Star Wars fan, so everybody's going, "Oh,
yeah."
this is Star Wars. You want to be in Star Wars?
I'm right there with you. Maybe I should just go.
We should go. Yes, that'll work.
I have not actually seen the land at night, so I need to get there and do that.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But I also make sure that we do a character meal every time.
Yes, that was going to be my big thing. Or if we're in Disneyland, we try to eat at Blue Bayou, which is, I mean, the food is sort of okay, but the cool thing is you're sitting in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, right? And you're seeing people go around the bend, and that's really cool.
I think the lunch is better.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking for a good dinner, go somewhere else. We did dinner there. Ambiance was terrific. Service was tremendous. The food, not so much.
Right. You would think being so close to Club 33 that it would, the scraps would be better, but they're just not.
But I
will say, go ahead.
Okay. I would say that the best character meal is at Disneyland, and that is the breakfast at Plaza Inn.
Yeah,
I've waxed poetic on here about it before, but you get 8 characters.
Mm-hmm.
You get a great breakfast. It's a buffet, but it's good food that you're picking out. The characters are not your typical characters. You get, was it Lucy, or I can't remember the other mouse's name from Cinderella.
Oh wow,
there, yeah. We took a later breakfast, so we rope dropped Rise of the Resistance that morning, hit a couple more rides, and then we went over for breakfast. And so it was I think we checked in around 10 o'clock. Might have been a 10:20 time if I remember actually. And we took our time. We sat there for a good hour. The characters stopped by 3 times. Minnie is kind of your host, so she does a photopass picture as you come in, and then she was actually walking around and meeting people because all of the breakfast reservations and all the people had checked in at that point, so there's nothing left for her to do but go around and just talk to people. So she stopped at our table a couple of times even. So it's it was the best experience we've had with character meals.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We also did I'm talking. I'm going here, man. Don't
go for it.
We also did Chef Mickey's the last time we were there. And I feel the need to profess that it is the quintessential Disney character meal. Everyone, if it's your first time, should do it. And everyone tells me, I'm going, what should I do? Chef Mickey's.
Chef Mickey's, yep.
Definitely one, yes.
And give into it, right? Chef Mickey's there's a lot going on, but take your picture with your breakfast, right? Give yourself over to it. Have fun with it, because it's supposed to be fun. And the food is good. I mean, it's typical Disney fare. You're going to get your Mickey waffles or whatever, your scrambled eggs, but have fun with it because the characters are going to be there and they're going to have a great time. The other one is the Ohana breakfast at Polly, right? Who doesn't want to have breakfast with Stitch? So he comes over and he ruffles your hair and try to take your food or whatever. So, those are great breakfasts. Character meals are some of the best things.
I find one that has the characters you like and do it. It's just so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saving time that you might stand in line to meet those people then anyway. So
yeah.
I
highly recommend a character breakfast. If you go with kids and you've never been before, a character breakfast is quintessential because the magic of it is so amazing. They're going to come over and they're going to have interactions with Mickey Mouse. I mean, who doesn't? I want to have interactions with Mickey Mouse right now. Like, who doesn't want to do that? So
Exactly.
can Mickey Mouse come to dinner now? I mean, let's do that.
There's a number of places that'll do dinner as well, or all day.
Right.
Like Chef Mickey is all day. Artist Point is so good, and you get great character interactions. Like, it's so worth doing that one. It's a little bit more than maybe a different one, but it's so worth it. I can't talk enough about doing. I love doing them. I know some people get creeped out by them because who wants people stopping by their table while eating? But whatever, it's so much fun.
And for what it's worth, every meal on a cruise is a character meal. So if that doesn't tip you over the edge, then I don't know what will. I mean, Paulo and Remy. No, it's not Paulo. Whatever.
Ashante, right?
Those ones aren't, because those are the adult ones. But the kid, the family ones, those are highly worth it. So the other thing, I mean, we talk about food a lot because food is quintessential to Disney. I mean, who doesn't eat food? I try to go on one ride that I haven't been on before, or one ride that I haven't been on in a long time. So the last time we went to Disneyland, I was like, I'm going on Alice in Wonderland, and everybody's like, really? Alice in Wonderland?
Love that ride.
I love it too. Here's why I love it. Because it goes outside of the ride building. I don't know why. I love that. I just love that part. Because when I was a kid, I would watch that go outside the ride building. I was like, that's so cool. I love that part.
Awesome.
What ride do you have to go on? I mean, I know you said Small World, but that was just because you wanted to terrorize your family. But what ride do you have to go on?
I always want to go on Big Thunder. Maybe that's why I haven't planned anything, because it's going to be closed for like a year. So yeah. But
maybe, I mean, if they're going to close it for a year, that means something good's going to come out of it, right?
I mean, this is all preparation for Cars and Villains, right? So yeah. All right. The last thing that we do every trip, on the last day, as we're waiting for that sad bus back to it used to be called Tragical Express, right?
Right.
The last thing we do is we take a picture pouting that we don't want to leave. And this last trip, we spent a lot of time walking across the Magic Kingdom gate to the monorail on this last trip, but we went on November 1st. So we're starting to change to Christmas, right? So we went to Ohana, had our breakfast, came back, and there was a photopass person in front of the Christmas topiaries of Mickey and Minnie. So that's where we did our pouting picture. We said to her, so we have this thing, we're going home today. We have to take a sad pouty picture. She said, all right, well, let's do that first so we can end on a high note. So we took that picture, and then she had us do fun, happy pictures after. So
see, that is the thing that Disney gets right every single time is the okay, we're going to let you do your thing, but we're also going to send you away with this happy memory, right?
Right. Yes.
The last thing we try to do for us, for me anyway, is we try to see the last kiss goodnight, or the kiss goodnight, where you close basically the last people out of the parks. It's not as easy to do anymore, and I think they repeat that message a couple of times, and so you're not necessarily the last person in the park.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't stayed long enough for it recently, but I've been hearing they don't really do it as much anymore. They, after COVID, I think that was something they stopped doing. I did get to see it, and you're right, they were doing it every 10 minutes, I think.
Right. But it's still one of those things. shutting down the park is maybe the broader term of it, right?
Right.
We like to stay until the very end, be
Yep.
some of the last people out, that unobstructed view of the castle, especially on the last night, especially in the last time you get to see it. And then you turn around and you walk away, you're crying. But yeah, that memory of that castle is enough to keep us, going, trying to get to the next trip, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So
Yeah. Well, those are all good ones. I thought that was great.
yeah, now we have to just figure out how to plan the next trip and pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Melissa Pilgrim is our choice for your next Disney vacation. You can reach her at amagicalpilgrimage@gmail.com. We thank her for her support.
So, question of the week. Let us know that one thing that you do when you go to Disney World. And
or Disneyland. We don't hate here.
Yeah. Let us know and we'll read it on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks everyone for watching, listening. Remember, episodes every Tuesday. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And as I said, leave us a comment and we'll read it on the show. Better yet, find the link to the text in the show notes. Oh my goodness, this is not written well. Find the link to text the show in our show notes and we'll read that on the show. I butchered that one. I apologize. So anyway, as we like to say, some live close
and some don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.